Welcome to Leading with Spirit. I'm Larry Buxton. We know that leadership requires courage. That's a basic fact. But we know also that courage isn't just running into a burning building. As a cardinal virtue, courage is also patience and perseverance, what's often today called grit. Courage is also our steady, consistent moving towards a goal, especially when we're not seeing any signs of progress. My brother Brian recently reminded me of a family story about grit and courage. Just before World War II, in the spring of 1945, our dad returned to the United States from overseas. He was a Navy dentist, eager to enter an orthodontics program somewhere. But with the country still at war, he couldn't apply anywhere until he was discharged. He waited 4 months. The Japanese surrendered in early August, and around Labor Day, Dad was finally discharged. He'd already missed the start of classes, but he didn't want to wait another whole year to begin. So Sam Buxton got into his old car and drove. He drove to one orthodontics program after another: Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. Every program was filled. Classes were well underway. But for some reason, he kept driving, kept making appointments, kept hearing no room, and after being turned away, got back into his car to drive some more. One morning, he arrived at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor and waited in the office of the dean of the orthodontics program. When he met Dr. George Moore and made his pitch, Dr. Moore explained, like everyone, that classes were already now 6 weeks underway. Then he pointed to a 3-inch pile of papers on a corner table and said, "And there's our waiting list, 200 applications right there." Another closed door. So they just chatted for a few more minutes when Dr. Moore's secretary suddenly knocked, walked in, and handed him a note. He glanced at it. And then he looked at my dad and he said, "Well, it seems one of our students has just dropped out. How quickly could you start?" And Sam Buxton said, "Today." But what about those 200 people on the waiting list? And Dr. Moore said, "Well, you're here and they aren't, so it's yours." It took Dad a lot of grit and perseverance to head back to school after 8 years, and to keep driving to strange cities and knocking, hearing rejection after rejection, until a door opened. Did he just get lucky? Well, sure he did. What led up, for instance, to that other student's frustration and his deciding to withdraw, or the timing of his informing the secretary, or her interrupting the dean at that particular moment? But there's also truth in the old Latin proverb, "Fortune follows the brave." When you persevere, you put yourself time and again in those very places where providence happens. This is the courage we need to demand from our congressional leaders right now as they press for accountability for the January 6th insurrection. One party's claiming that the push for accountability is itself harmful and divisive. One party is accusing those who persevere in uncovering the truth as somehow preventing our country from healing. This can't be allowed to stand. Our congressional leaders need this same persisting, driving, and knocking courage to preserve our nation. Please support and encourage them. But also, where is your courage being called forth? You may not have to rush into a burning building or enforce a subpoena, but you might need in some place to keep on keeping on, to keep driving, to keep persisting in your pursuit of justice or purpose. Persevere in what's right. The Apostle Paul says, "Let's not grow weary in doing good, for we will reap in due season if we don't give up." Will you be lucky too? I hope so. Remember, fortune follows the brave. These weekly Leading with Spirit videos are available by a free subscription through LarryBuxton.com. Check us out for further insights on wisdom, leadership, and character. We're here to encourage you in the challenging work of leading families, teams, congregations, and organizations. Thanks for watching. God bless you.